Alright, so I want to start target training my snake, my hognose snake snoot, and I wanted to buy a target online, and they're all about 20 bucks for some good ones, plus shipping and everything, and so I figured I'd try to make my own. So I've got some resin molds here. These are some silicone molds I got off of Amazon just yesterday. They range in size from ridiculous to huge, but I'm actually excited to try all of them for different things I want to do. For this one, I think I'm going to use the 2-inch. This looks about 2 inches in diameter. I think that'll be a good size. It doesn't need to be too big, but I want it big enough to be able to stick a stick into and everything too. So let's go ahead and get started. 2 inches diameter comes out to 550 milliliters. Which is probably not accurate for the resin that I'm using. So I'm going to do 600 grams total of resin, because I could use the extra for something else. So let's go ahead and get that together. I got a little gram scale here, I got my cup, I have a timer right here. I'm going to use a set to 10 minutes. The pot life, the working time of this resin that I'm using Aluminite Clear Slow, is 12 minutes. So I got it set to 10, just so I can make sure that I don't go over. I'm going to do green, and only the highest quality stuff for me. This is Jade Green. Will it focus on there? Which I'm sure they meant to write Jade Green, but or maybe it's a spelling I'm not aware of. But anyway, so I got some Jade Green ink, and I didn't have any green mica powder, but there's some blue-green mica powder, which is like way more. Will you please focus? There we go. Which is way more blue than green, but I'm just going to put a little bit of this in this to give it like a little bit of a sparkle. So I don't want to make it opaque or anything, but okay, so there we go. So let's get started. Let's see. Okay, I'm probably going to have to edit that down because I was unsure about the calculations there, but let me start my timer because they are touching each other now. So I have 78 grams of each in here. Again, I'm not sure that that's the right. Yeah, that'll fill it up. That'll fill it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and stir this about. You see this popsicle stick that I use, or craft stick, technically, as they sell it to me at the store. I cut a point in it, and you'll see in a little bit why I have that. Because I'm not going to use a funnel to get this in here. I'm going to try to... I could probably pour this into that opening, just straight out of the cup, but... I'm going to try to use this stick. So now that they're similarly, what do you call it? Semi-mixed together, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in a little bit of some of this dye. I'll do maybe just 3 drops to start with. And we'll see where we go. Definitely going to need more than that, but that's a pretty color already. Let's do another 3. Prettier still. Don't think it needs to be like super green or anything. It doesn't need to be any color. Well, it needs to be some color. It can't be clear, obviously, so the snake can actually see it. But it doesn't need to be terribly opaque. I'm gonna go another 3 drops. So we're at 9 drops so far, just so I know for the future. That's getting pretty close to the color I like. Don't need it to be too terribly dark, and this mica powder will darken it up a little bit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that away, and we'll get the mica powder in there. I'm going to just use, we'll start off with a very small amount. Just enough to give it maybe a little bit of a shimmer. Oh, this changes it into a pretty, I mean, of course it does, because color theory, but this changes it into a nice kind of almost cyan. Not quite cyan yet. Now that's very pretty, I like that. And don't want to go overboard, obviously you can't take things back out. But I might want to add just a little bit more. It is pretty though. I like that. With that kind of small amount in there, it looks very, like, it doesn't look homogeneous. It looks kind of just suspended. I mean, that's a dumb thing to say, but you get the idea. Of course, it's suspended in there. I'm going to add about the same amount. So I'm scraping down the sides, make sure in the resin that it's all completely mixed together. Really like this color. I like what's happening here. I hope this is coming through in the camera. I think that's really pretty. We have 6 minutes left of work time, so I'm not going to rush too much. I do want to get into the pressure pot pretty soon, so it doesn't, so I can get the bubbles out the best. I'm actually not that terribly worried about it being completely bubble free for this project, but I will be making these spheres into other things in the future. I absolutely love that color. This is way prettier than I was expecting, honestly. That's a Gade green and blue green powder is the combo. I like this a lot. Really hope it comes through on camera. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in. And I have those other molds on standby, so the extra will go into the other molds, and that'll be just a fun toy to have. I'll do something with it. So my plan is to do this trick where you pour it down a stick. Let's see how well this works. This is a trick that we use in candle making. You pour down a chopstick or something. You don't need a funnel because it goes like straight down. And this is indeed working quite well. If I can keep my hand steady. Okay, so I have a lot extra. So I'm going to make another one of these just for fun. It definitely won't fit in there. This is just the size up. I might have enough for the size up. I should play it safe and go size down, but I can, even if it's not perfectly round, that'll be okay too. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I can't quite look at the oh no, my hand's directly in the way. Okay, here we go. Let me try to move out of the way. So here's the stick trick. You pour it down the stick. And you don't need a funnel because it just goes straight down. And I'm almost gonna, yeah, this is gonna make it completely new. There we go. Very little waste, except for, did not mean to make that much, but now I know. I could have easily made half that amount. So, okay, with 2 minutes left on the clock, I'm gonna go ahead and get these in the pressure pot. So we'll see you later.
Okay, me from the future here. This is a piece of walnut. No, it's not. This is a piece of maple. I don't know why I said walnut. This is a piece of maple that I had lying around. I decided to make the handle out of. I cut it to, I think it was right over 12 inches. And then with the 2-inch sphere at the end, that makes about 14 inches total. Of course, I'm going to be losing some because part of the handle is going to go into the sphere, and then as well, here I am on the lathe, you're going to lose some at the ends as well. So these are approximate lengths. In the end, you'll see, I would have cut the whole thing just a little bit longer. I'm not unhappy with how short it is, but I feel like it could be just a little bit longer in the future. And so I probably will do that. But this is, again, a piece of wood that I had lying around, so I wanted to use what I had. So anyway, we have about a foot of walnut here. I'm going to say walnut every time. A foot of maple here. And you can see there I just use my hand to kind of estimate about how much the handle portion, where your hand is actually going to go, should be. And then the rest of it, I'm just going to taper down. And you'll see what I do with that at the end. I did put two little details, one at the kind of heel of the handle and one at the, what would be a hilt on a sword, where your thumb is going to go. So I have those kind of marked off, and then again the rest of it I just kind of made a taper by eye. I didn't measure anything out for this, and I didn't have a design in mind either. I kind of wanted to go for it because it's not super critical, honestly, and I kind of just wanted to play with it and see. I think in the future, like knowing what I know now, I might, you know, make it a little bit more. Well, you'll see. I'll make some changes in the future too if I make another one of these. But this one I just kind of wanted to go with it and see what happens. So anyway, I have a taper at the end here. I'm getting a skew in there to kind of clean it up. Clean up the front, clean up the back. And then the next thing I'm going to do is use my fingers. There you go. You can see. I'm going to round this off to where I like the diameter of it. And then I'm going to put my fingers up there and just kind of estimate where my fingers are. And then I just kind of keep putting my hands up there and until I feel like those recesses are about what I want. And at this point, we're pretty close to the end. I mean, there's really nothing else to do. It's just a long stick. So I'm going to start sanding it here in a second. And with the sanding disc, it's just what I had nearby. So I go through the grits and I sand it up to, I think, 600 or 800. Unfortunately, the camera's going to cut out here in a second. You're not going to see the end of the sanding process or the beginning of the staining process because the camera cut out. But I did use Danish oil, walnut Danish oil. That's probably why I keep saying walnut. So yeah, I have walnut Danish oil on there, which gives it a kind of a nice distressed look, kind of antiqued a little bit because it doesn't go on perfectly even. But anyway, that's a beautiful thing. I love watching that go on. So anyway, here we are unmolding the spheres that I did, and this is like really sped up. Well, until here, but this is really sped up because this took me a long time to get out of those things. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think they're really, really pretty. Again, I said this already, but I wanted it initially to be a lot more green than it is, not this kind of aqua color. But I love that color, so I'm happy with the way it turned out. It just wasn't what I initially had in mind. So I sanded off I put a hole in the bottom of it, which I didn't film, and sanded off the sprue on the belt sander, which you don't need to see either, just to make it round. And then here's the polishing portion of it, where I go through the grits of some micro mesh that I have, and I went all the way through the grits and then polished it up that way. And yeah, very happy with how that turns out. I think it's really, really pretty. And then the last thing to do was I sanded down the tip of the wand, and I did a couple dry fits. And when I was happy with it, it goes in there really nice and tight. And when I was happy with it, I put some CA glue on it and let it sit for a minute. And there it is. So I'll go back to me live here so I can tell you how it turned out. Alright, so here is the finished product. I sanded off the bottom, the sprue, and polished it, which is not coming out great on the camera. Let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit better on it. It's a reflective surface, so it's a little bit hard for the camera, but there we go. I think it looks pretty cool. Wasn't the color that I had in mind when I put the Gade green on it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more green, but then I put that mica powder in there and it changed to this kind of like aqua color. I think it's a really beautiful color, but it wasn't the color I intended. And the same thing for the handle here. I was going to go a little bit darker with this, but once I put the second coat of that Danish oil on it, I really liked the way it came out. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm pretty happy with it. The finger recesses here feel great. They're just right for my hand. I think they'd fit most people just fine. It's very sturdy. This ball is not going anywhere. The proportions are maybe, I don't know. I think they're fine, but I'll probably make another one in the future and make it a little bit thinner and longer because it's a little like stubby and kind of fat. I would go down on the size of the ball, maybe to 1.5 inches, something a little bit smaller, and thin up this a little bit. The handle's fine because I like a big kind of meaty handle, but I might do something like that. So what are we coming in here at? We're coming in at 4 to 15, so about 11 inches. It's over right at a foot. Yeah, just shy of a foot total. Some of the ones that I've seen online, like the lollipop style targets I've seen online, are like 14 inches. So it's just a little bit shorter than other ones.
So I might make it a little bit longer next time, maybe go 15 to 18 inches, somewhere like that. But anyway, really fun project. I'm definitely going to make some more of these just for fun. I think it was just a fun project to do. If anybody is interested, like this one is not ready to sell, but now I kind of know what I want, and I'll make some changes. And if anybody is ever interested in having me make one of these, contact me. I think this would be a fun product to sell. I have some other ideas with the resin things that are not pet related, but anyway, I think it's a cool little thing. So hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention, I'm going to be training my snake with this starting this week, and I was going to include it in this video, but I think I'm going to film a handful of training sessions and then release that as its own separate video in the future. So if you're interested in seeing how the training actually goes with this, stick around. Thanks.